The objective of acute rehab is to transition patients to home, and every patient has their own unique circumstance and their own unique vehicle that they'll need to get in to go home, or once they go home they may need to go out to the grocery store or do some different things. So one of the things that we work on that's of utmost importance while in acute rehab is transfers, and one of those types of transfers is a car transfer. So what we have here is a car simulator, and this simulates a person's vehicle that they may have to transfer with. So if you look at it, it's got a steering wheel, a couple of seats just like a regular car, the doors open just like a regular car, so a patient would have to, maneuver around the device and get in and out of it just like they would their regular car. The neat thing about this is that it will raise and lower depending on the type of vehicle that a patient has at home. If a person has a SUV that they need to get in and out of, or a lower car that they need to get in and out of, then patients will be able to duplicate that as closely as possible while on the rehab unit. The other great thing about this is we often bring in family members who are going to be helping the patient transfer in and out of the car to be participating with this piece of equipment. So once the patient finally goes out to their car to go back to their regular life, it won't seem foreign to them. It'll seem a little bit more natural because we'll have practiced it here in the rehabilitation laboratory, like we like to call it, which is basically our gym. And that's what this device is here that we use. It's called Transit. This first piece is here is called the new step. This is primarily for range of motion of the upper and lower extremities and synchronous and working them together in a synchronous way. And you can see here, I'm moving all my arms and legs at the same time, working primarily on range of motion as well as some strength. If we go over to this other device just behind me, this is an arm and leg ergometer, which works very similarly. The neat thing about this device is we can bring a wheelchair right up to it. Patients can reach out of their wheelchair and they can exercise their arms and their legs right from their wheelchair, similar to the new step, but this allows us to work them independently if we would choose to do so, and from a wheelchair. This is a very fancy piece of equipment here. This is called a Recumbent Bicycle, and people can get cardiovascular exercise as well as, again, working on range of motion and movement of the lower extremities. Here is something that has been used in rehab units for many, many years. These are parallel bars. These bars go up and down depending on the patient's height and where they need to have therapy. The neat thing about these bars is they're wide enough to fit a wheelchair or a walker through. So we can bring the patient inside the parallel bars, and then this is primarily for patients who have good upper body strength but poor lower body strength or problems with their lower body. And it's basically so they can walk with a therapist in front or behind them, and they can move their legs and do some ambulatory exercises while they're in the parallel bars. It's common for a stroke patient, if you look down toward the end of the parallel bars, there's a mirror, and when patients keep their head up and they ambulate and they use this particular piece of equipment and they see themselves, that biofeedback from seeing themselves in the mirror often helps to accelerate the effects of the therapy. Other things down at the end of the gym are just some smaller devices that we use for activities of daily living training with occupational therapy.